Yep, it's a head shake. It's a three-way head shaker. We're just gonna do
What
this
the
for.
hell was that?
We're gonna do this for 1 hour.
We're just gonna do this. Yeah,
No,
we're just gonna do
no,
this.
no.
I even wore, guys, my phenomenal T-shirt tonight.
I wore my victory
I wore
pink
my
hat.
phenomenal T-shirt, and this was anything but, in the words of Bobby, phenomenal. This was a phenomenal collapse. This wasn't. This was another PH sounding word, but it wasn't phenomenal.
Um,
No.
An effing disaster.
um, hold on 1 second. I agree. Like, look, guys, this is the thing. It's low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy to bash this. It's so
So
easy
let's
also
praise
for.
it.
Let's praise it. I'm going the other direction. I liked what I saw tonight.
Yeah.
You,
Five
you know,
things we liked about
you can
tonight. Sherrod, you go
take the
first.
or you can take what the defensive Celtics stance is going to be like. Oh, they still have the second best record, and it's season ended. And like, pack it up for
Yeah,
the year. No,
they're
don't
saving it.
just look. You judge everything for what it is. You don't overreact to a single thing. But it's so easy to say worst loss of the season, worst this, worst this, worst that. This was far and away the worst loss of the season. Not only because they legit quit, like in the worst way the worst way they have all year. I mean, Joe Missoula being mic'd up on the ESPN broadcast, actually for a portion, you actually heard him. He's like, "So just do this," and he's like, "And we have to play harder. Like,
Right.
play harder. Like, what are you doing?
That
Like,
and that's
yeah,
yeah. That's the death sentence right there. Because I just remember one of the things that Larry Brown used to always say was, "I can coach a lot of things. Effort ain't one of them. You either want to
Right.
play
Ooh,
hard or
Larry
you don't."
Brown.
I can't do anything about that. And you saw out here. I mean, the ease in which they pushed that lead up to 28 points, they easily gave it away, and they did it the way that leads like that always disappear. You stop playing. And no
completely.
disrespect to Mikal Bridges, because Mikal Bridges is a good player, and he's had some of his better games against the Celtics and against Tatum, but he's not that damn good. I'm sorry. He's not that damn good. I mean, he looked like a perennial All Star out there tonight. And he's a good player, but he's not that good. And the Celtics, I don't know if you're Joe Mazzulla. What the hell do you say to your team after a game like this? I mean,
He probably won't say much, Sherrod, knowing based on what I've seen. And he certainly is no Larry Brown. Larry Brown would have had a conniption. Larry Brown would have had a heart attack out there in the middle of that second half if he was
But
coaching this game.
there's so many things to point to, and that's what's so frustrating is like, you got a bad shooting night like you had against the Knicks. Knicks wasn't a low effort game. Knicks was
This
just a
was low
poor
effort. This was
right.
less. This was about the
Knicks
same
was
amount
a
of effort
poor
as the All Star
execution
game.
game.
This
Yeah,
looked like the
Yeah.
All Star game, except Celtics couldn't score. So in
yeah.
that sense, it was
Right.
an All Star game. But
You could
based on
see
the way
it.
I saw them trying, it was.
And again, we'll always go to it. It's a top-down thing, and I think Tatum was the one who was letting them down the most there in that second quarter, really starting to get lax with a lot of what he was doing. His passes, his dribble, his shot selection. One time he missed a three. He sat there holding it the entire time and let his guy go by for a leak out and an easy layup. Just that stuff is so bad. It just looks bad. It's not like he's the only person in the world who does it. It's a top-down situation. It has to be top down. You lead by example, and you also stop it top down. And people are going to kind of follow your lead with stuff. But everybody was just walking around. I mean, the worst part about it is they gave it up so early. They had so many chances to be like, oh, okay, let's get serious. Like, just the numbers at the high water mark of that 28-point lead, which was like 5 minutes into the second quarter, 51-23. They get outscored 32-13 down the stretch in the second quarter. That should be a pretty big wake-up call. They're still up 9 to enter the third quarter. Okay, they'll come out in the third and light it up. Nope.
Show a pulse. Do something.
15 to 6 run. Celtics offense goes dry. They score 6 points in the first like 5 or 6 minutes. Tie ball game. They go into the fourth quarter down however many points they were down. Okay, let's get serious here in the fourth. They start Tatum and Brown in the fourth quarter, something they don't normally do. So you put your A team out there trying to make that push. What happens? 17 to 6 run to start the fourth quarter for the Nets. Time and again, every opportunity to be like, all right, we're done screwing around now. Because these are the games where you can play 12 minutes and win. And they should have been able to stop the bleeding multiple times, and they just chose not to.
Yeah,
It was so, I couldn't believe it.
yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this score just get closer and closer and closer, and I'm thinking, okay, at any minute now, this like 12-point game is going to become 22. And
Mm-hmm.
just like that. Okay, it's down to 8. Okay, they're going to push the thing and make it 15,
Right.
16. And it just never happened. And that's if you're the Celtics, you're in the middle of trying to get that number one seed. And when you get to the end of the season and you start looking at all the receipts over the course of the season, you're going to have this. Every team has bad losses. That's a given. But there's
Yeah.
certain losses that stand out for the absolute putridness of them more than others. And this is one of those games.
This is, and you know what? I think it was last show. Somebody we put the question up. What are you concerned about most about this team? And my answer was mental toughness and the ability to put your foot on their throats when you have them, in a position where you can win. And like this is, I mean, I didn't expect to be this right this quickly. It's probably the first time in the history of my life that I have been. But this is an example of what scares me about this team is that lack of a killer instinct and that ability to look so good one game and so damn bad the next. So it's like you go from the Knicks, then you go who they just beat. I already forget, and then this game when they lose to the Nets. So it's
Not the best color man in the league for nothing.
Even in Caps, thank you. At least Tim can help me out there, and you guys just left me high and
I was
dry.
gonna let you flounder for a little bit, yeah.
I totally was.
Even well, you did. You did. So you were and you
accomplished.
did. So yeah, we'll move on. But my point is, these guys are so up and down. Sometimes in games, but during the season too. It's like the consistency is what I want. But I also like, where is that damn killer instinct? Jason Tatum, it's your damn birthday, man. You go out there and play like you did tonight. Were you up late last night celebrating for? Were you up till midnight celebrating your birthday?
Only Deuce's birthday. For his,
True.
he goes to work on his birthday.
Right. Well, he didn't really work. He didn't really put in
He
much
got
work
worked
tonight.
over. He got worked over on his
0 of
birthday.
8
That's
from
what happened.
3. I mean, this is
know,
another bad shooting
He had
night.
whatever he wanted going to the basket. That's what was perplexing. 3 wasn't falling, but I mean, my God, he was getting to the He was getting to the rim at will if he wanted to in this game. That shouldn't have been a challenge. I'm surprised that it went the way that it went here. With that, because the Celtics were scoring with minimal effort.
The Celtics were favorites at halftime. They were minus 1,000 at halftime. Everybody in the world thought they were going to still win this game. But the problem was they gave the Nets a pulse. You give a bad team a chance. You give a bad team the belief that they're not a bad team. They're no longer a bad team. They had all the momentum going into that second half. They wrote it up. These guys are NBA players. They have pride. They're certainly skilled enough players. I know Sherrod just dogged our guy, Bridges, but this guy
player.
This guy could have a real future in the NBA with a bigger role. I mean, he showed it tonight. So, you can't just. And they've done this before. Who was the team that they didn't show up for because their star player was ruled out like 10 minutes before the game and they lost? I forget who it was because my brain's not functioning. But this was earlier in the season. I think, OKC. Thank you, Tim. SGA on OKC was ruled out, and the Celtics.
And they gave up 150.
Yeah, they gave 150.
Right.
And at that point, it was their worst loss of the season. This might take the cake now, but point being, these guys, they don't know how to keep the mental toughness going. They don't know how to stay angry or you know what I mean? Like, you just got to play hard for the entire game. It doesn't matter who you're playing because bad teams will beat you if you don't bring it.
Yeah,
If you think you're going to cakewalk, it's not going to happen.
But Jimmy, I think you just hit the nail on the head right there. I think there's certain teams that they look at on the schedule and think that,
Exactly.
we just basically need to show up and we'll play okay and we should be okay. And Brooklyn, they're not one of those teams. I think sometimes people forget that this Brooklyn team, they don't have any choice but to play with great effort because they don't have the top to bottom talent that a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference do. And plus, and again, they're still figuring out how to make a lot of things work. I asked Jock Vaughn about that before the game, and he brought up the fact that, there'll be a play that pretty much every team runs, but Brooklyn players on the team now run it a certain way. Guys coming from Phoenix run it a different way, but the same play. And you're trying to get everybody on the same page, and they're going to have games like this where it's all going to come together for them. And the Celtics, again, this is a blown opportunity to beat a team that you should have no business having any struggles with. particularly the way you're built, the way you're playing. And the fact is, they still don't really know what they're working with over there. They're experimenting. They don't know what the. This is a bad loss. There's no getting around that. I show me the silver lining other than the fact that the game is over.
They're
That's
just
about
playing basketball. You know what, Sherrod? It just comes down to playing basketball sometimes. And the Nets just went out there and they just did their thing. I mean, yeah, it started off horrible for them, but they got a little bit going. Jacques Vaughn is a great coach. I mean, they just extended him in Brooklyn for a reason. So he's got guys playing for him, and these guys don't believe that they suck. That's the important thing. Even if everybody else does, even if the Celtics do, as long as they don't. I mean, Bridges 38. Dinwiddie's been a Celtics killer for years now. 17 tonight. He didn't have an unbelievable game, but he was effective for sure.
Yeah, this was a.
Cam Johnson had his 3. He was hitting shots tonight.
Well, the weird thing about Cam Johnson, he was not making that many shots. He just got
threes,
he had like a 5-minute stretch where he made some big buckets.
Yeah,
and that's all you needed. I mean, the Celtics. I don't know how they can look at this and not be angry about it. I mean, yeah, it's not in the grand scheme of things. This is not going to make or break your season, but you should still have some type of visceral reaction to a game that you just sleptwalk through like the second half for the most part.
It's not the mark of a championship caliber team to put performance in like this. I mean, especially when you already learned from the OKC loss, and they did come out after that and said, I think we sort of took them for granted. We kind of, when we heard that SGA was going to be out, we kind of thought that it was going to be an easy win. You just did the same thing now. Okay, you went up big, good for you. And then you thought that you could just, play the clock? And these guys they didn't have enough talent to score enough baskets to catch up to you. So, I don't know, it's a frustrating loss. I really want to hear what Missoula had to say after the game. He probably didn't say much, but I still want to find out.
I think Joe's going to be spicy and mad tonight.
I don't think he will.
I've never even seen him.
I think it's
maybe at a media
time.
member. That's the only time I've seen it.
I think it's the first time.
Never had him.
Normally he answers Bobby in 3-word answers. It's going to be like just grunts at Bobby's questions tonight.
That's more of a Bobby.
I could see. No. I'm just kidding. I could see him being. I could see him saying, bringing up effort tonight. Because I think it was.
I hope to God that he does.
I think it was so effort. Look here. It doesn't. It's insulting to our intelligence, and fans don't want it. Fans kind of want the fiery throw the chair coach sometimes, but we know that players don't like getting thrown under the bus, and Missoula's not that guy. But you have to at least acknowledge what's very obvious here, or else you seem obtuse or just you're missing
what the hell's going on.
Yeah, you're missing the point here. It's okay to say they didn't. They know they didn't play tonight. But we'll see what he says. Ultimately. It doesn't really matter what he says. Him taking people to task publicly is just red meat for us. It makes us feel good. It doesn't really amount to anything. So I don't know how important.
I'm not asking him to single out guys.
There needs to be accountability for what the hell we just saw.
There might be behind the scenes,
Well, see that? No. You're trying to galvanize your fan base and people to believe in you that you're a championship caliber team. And you may say that doesn't matter. Yeah, it kind of does. It matters a lot. The people that pay good money to come to these games, they kind of want to know what the hell just happened. And to me, if you can't explain what happened, at least own up to the fact that something that was plain and obvious to all of us, lack of effort, was a problem. And it may not be a problem throughout the rest of the season. It may just be a one-night only type of thing. But damn it, own it for that one night.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, again, like I said, I'm always kind of it's my media brain versus my fan brain, and trying to assess does it actually really matter? I do think sometimes fans do feel better when there is some sense of accountability.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And it's all fine and good. Yeah.
And I
don't tell us that it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I don't think you have to do that after every single loss. But this is one where you need to own up to what the hell happened and let folks know. From your perspective as the man in charge, what we just
that's it, Sherrod. Yeah. That's it. And you know what? Ime would have blasted these guys. Not to I don't want to compare the two for the rest of eternity. But it's gonna happen, and at least right now.
They also might have hated it. You know what?
Listen.
Bruce Cassidy media. I'll put you this way. Just again, what we do know and what we don't know. Bruce Cassidy, media thought he was the best coach, best guy in the world. Everybody loved him, and he was really honest in the press conferences, and he gave you accountability and X, Y, and Z. And the players friggin' did not like Butchie, and there's a big reason why the Bruins are as good as they are right now. They were like, "F this guy." So Joe's
But there is
careful
a
about
fine
it.
line. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying be that. I'm not saying be Cassidy because
He
you're
wasn't
right.
a jerk.
Everyone
He was
hated
just
him.
he was straight, and they didn't like it. They did
Players
not
didn't
like
like
it. Yeah.
But
you gotta pick your spots with that.
But
no
also,
doubt.
John, you don't want you do you, on the other end of the spectrum. Do you want your head coach to be like your buddy and like and
You
never
don't.
and there's no difference between player and coach here?
No, but it's not like whether it's the apology or not. I'll ask you guys because I don't know the answer. I never do with this stuff. Everybody, when they see like times like an effort situation or lack of mental toughness, I feel like it's really quick to the coach, and I just don't know that it's the coach. And that's kind of what every single time I kind of like wonder a little bit about the Celtics. It's always like, and again, when we talked about that question you mentioned, Jimmy, mine was in the same vein, late game collapses, holding on to leads, tightening up, not having that killer instinct. Yours was just mentality in general. Like, how does a coach change mentality? And that's the thing is like, it's easy to say the Celtics went to the finals. They know how to win, but it's also really easy to say we've seen them time and time again in big games and big moments really kind of cave and fold and let teams catch them and blow leads and do things or have nights where they show up and just say we didn't play. Dude, they had three games in the finals where like we didn't come out and play tonight. How in the F do you say that in the finals? I was mind blown with that. Like, yeah, we didn't play, we didn't come out with energy. How in the world? It's only
Like, what are
makes
you
sense if you
waiting
played.
for?
Yeah, right. Playing max
That
energy.
seems impossible.
Right, the opposite should be true. You should be playing so much energy that you should be borderline spazzy and be saying afterwards, "We got to settle down. Play hard, but like play smart." No, we didn't have energy tonight in the finals. Stuff like that is always perplexing to me. So again, just watching them sleepwalk through the entire game, where at any point in time they could have just put their foot down and got serious and never did it, is always mind blowing to me. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you handle that from a coach's standpoint? What do you do there for accountability?
Yeah, and that's where it gets interesting because I don't think there is a silver bullet answer to that question. A lot of it comes back to just having a pulse for your team, and what can they handle? How hard can you be on them without breaking them? And I think that's one of those things that Joe is still trying to get a handle on. Because you can't just walk into the locker room after a game like this and just say, well, it's just one of those nights. We'll just regroup and get ready for our game this weekend. Oh, hell no. You had a 28-point lead at the crib.
Right.
You are not supposed to lose games anywhere, but let alone in your building with that big a lead.
But in game too, Sherrod, what he's gonna have to do something differently to stop that type of a run from happening. I know that it was broken up by halftime, but
Right.
for whatever reason, the momentum completely shifted, and whatever the Celtics were doing well, they just stopped doing. Like, what caused that, and what could this Celtics coaching staff do to prevent it from keep on going like that? I don't know if the players are capable. I know Missoula wants to let the players figure it out on their own and leave them out there, but that's not always the right way to do it. If you don't have guys that can sort of take control and maybe get the rest of the team back on track, I don't know. Maybe Tatum isn't capable of the rah fire everybody up and get everybody to play with energy
That's
again.
not who
We
he
haven't
is.
seen it.
But
I know. So who
just,
is?
It doesn't. You don't need that if he leads by example. Like, what's so perplexing
What's lead by example? That's
game, for example.
what I mean.
That's what's so perplexing is you have bad shooting nights and that's going to happen. But last game, Tatum played a near perfect game with total effort and focus, start to finish. I thought it was one of his best games of the year. I thought he attacked.
He did.
Bobby still wants to put up his shot chart. Everything he did was incredible. But the way he played, his movement. It was clearly like, I'm taking this one seriously tonight. So then going into cruise control mode, yeah, they're stars. He plays a lot of minutes. He plays more games than anybody out there. If anybody has an excuse to kind of have a fatigued game, it's Tatum. But it's like I said, it's a top-down leadership thing. When you see him kind of coasting and taking it easy and this and that, I think that affects other people there as well. So he's just not in a position where he can do that. That's how he leads, just by example. Not just, not taking
Sure.
nights off, plays off, being lazy, not yelling at people and getting in their face.
But there still has to be some level of that too from somebody on the team. Sometimes you just need to yell. I'm not saying get scolded and get spanked or something, but you just got to get fired up. You got to. It doesn't always happen on the court. It might happen in a timeout. It might happen in halftime or between quarters, third and fourth. Like somebody's got to be that
we kind
guy.
of went over this, right? Like it's smart to a point, but clearly, like they kind of were like tired.
Yeah.
They were kind of tired of hearing from Smart. I felt like over a year or two ago. So I think he kind of pulled it back a tad. And then there's Grant, and absolutely no one wants to hear anything Grant has to say.
It's not Grant right now.
There's no one else there. Yeah, there's no one else there, right, Sherrod? Like, where's it coming from?
That's the problem. They need multiple folks who can do that, or I would say go with what I call the Kawhi plan. Just show up, outplay anyone and everyone on the floor, and don't say a word. That's going to be your statement. And Tatum, he's got to get to that point where, again, you're right, Jimmy. He's not a rah-rah guy, but
Kawhi's a champion.
Yeah,
2 times.
Exactly. And the reason he's a champion, you go back and you look at his receipts, he was at his absolute best when the games mattered the most. That's what Kawhi did.
And he did lead by example, like on the court, like John's saying. He was kind of like a stone cold killer in that sense. Tatum's not there yet. I mean, his highs can be higher than everybody's in the league at points. But man, we said it a couple games ago. Sometimes his lows are just way lower. Like the baseline needs to be higher for the baseline for being effective.
This wasn't a horrible game.
It wasn't, but it just effort-wise it was.
He was poster child of the let's kick it into neutral, and
right. There was no takeover mode. There was no these guys are a little too close for comfort. Like Sherrod said, he was waiting for them to go from up 12 to up 22, and it just never happened. So again, people don't get on us for being too critical because we'll praise Tatum for a game like he had against Cleveland. Like John said, one of the best games of the year. But like Rob, I want the consistency. Like with Rob Williams last game, 11 and 11, everyone's like, oh, that's the Rob that we need, and that's if they can get that Rob, then look out. Well, then what do we see tonight? Rob was out again with another injury. So that's exactly what I said. Is it's a consistency thing with these guys. I want to see it over entire game and multiple games. And I know I'm just going to say, oh, they're the best record in the league. You've obviously seen it. Yes, that's true. But against, I think there are just certain situations, like tonight, for example, and obviously a couple of games ago, where it's just not – you don't sometimes know what you're getting with these guys. And it's almost like uncharacteristic, or you're not sure if it's uncharacteristic because you're not sure who the real Celtics are sometimes. Like, which is the real team? Is it the team that we saw at the beginning of the year, or is it the team that we're starting to see – post All-Star break here, kind of going into the All-Star break in a way, which is the real Celtics? Because if it's this team, then they're not going to make it to the NBA Finals because this is not a championship caliber team we're watching.
Well, that's kind of the thing. There's still, from the hot start of it being, 21-5, record-wise, it's still a very good team. Obviously. I mean,
but is their overall record indicative of
24 and 14, since it's still a very good record. The problem is since the 21-5 start where they played nearly perfectly and were absolutely killing people, I would say 1 out of 2 games is a very inconsistent effort. And that's what's definitely alarming and troubling about the team is everyone can be like, they're still good. They still have the record. It's true, but use your eyes and see it. The effort game in, game out, that wasn't a great one. We'll take this win, but they played like crap. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Or, geez, how'd they lose that one? There's a lot of – it feels like it's a 50-50 ball. It's a coin flip right now on whether they're going to come out and kind of play a fully focused game with, the type of offense where they're moving the ball and moving without the ball instead of just whipping it around the perimeter and hoping the threes fall, engaged on defense, moving, connected. You're still not getting the Rob – that you expected to see, and the defense isn't dominant at all.
Rob.
Yeah, go ahead, Sherrod.
Getting him.
You muted. Go ahead.
Sherrod.
I was about to say I talked to Rob for a little bit before the game, and the one thing he talked about. I hate to have those conversations, and the game goes like this. He talked about how he He's playing what he calls a lot smarter basketball when he's on the floor. We're not seeing him make all those super duper athletic plays because he knows that a lot of times he doesn't have to do that to make an impact. And he said that's one of the things he's learned from
He
Al.
does.
Yeah. No, but
He's not Al. He's not even close to Al. Completely different players.
Jimmy, dial to the left. Dial it just a little bit to the left.
Yeah, but that's frustrating to hear.
Hear me out. He's not Al, but he's learning from Al. That's kind of what's his point, that he's learning from Al how to be smarter about what you can do and what you can't do. It's not looking good right now, obviously, because he's so injury riddled. But when they get to the playoffs, if Rob can stay healthy, and that's a big if, we all know that's a big ass if he can stay healthy and he's playing a little bit smarter, people know what Rob can do physically. And because they know that, he's going to get them to do things that they may not want to do, and may not have to do anything other than merely be a presence. That's kind of his point. But again, it always comes back with him is staying healthy. I don't care how smart you play; it doesn't do a damn bit of good if you're on the bench. He's got to stay healthy.
I want to follow on this, Sherrod. Hold on. I want to follow and hear what Jimmy has to say. No. But first, I got to quickly just jump in here and tell you quickly about Athletic Greens.
Okay, yeah. Let's get.
These are our guys.
These are our guys.
Jimmy, you didn't let me do the CTA last time, so just let me get through this. All right. Athletic Greens, baby. Yes. Jimmy Toscano stacks it, loves it, drinks it, eats with it, sleeps with it under his pillow.
I'll snort it. Just whatever I got to do to get it in my body.
Yep. Great one-stop shopping supplement.
It hits you way faster.
Yep. Great one-stop shopping, like a supplement instead of going and getting a million different pills and vitamins. Get it here, 75 vitamins, minerals, probiotics, adaptogens. Bang, cup of water, you're done for the day. That's all you need to do. Mental health, mental clarity, immune system, gut health, all sorts of different things. Again, you're probably chasing this one supplement at a time. Just get it all with AG1 and you're done there. If you sign up through Whole Foods.
It's not this manufactured crap that they just, you don't even know what you're taking.
It's green, people. It's green.
It's green. It's good. It's green.
It's green. It's good for you. Have something green every day.
Hey, Jimmy, how do you feel about vitamins, Jimmy?
Expensive piss, Sherrod. You know how I feel
This is what got away from us last time. Athleticgreens.com/garden. Free 1-year supply vitamin D, 5 free travel packs. I've actually gotten an infusion of subscription. So thank you guys out there who are supporting our sponsors. It means a lot to us. If you do, again, please go through this website, athleticgreens.com/garden. That's how they know we sent you. That's how you get that free gift. And that's how you get this awesome Nick Gelso created t-shirt here.
I need this one now. Now that I got the phenomenal, I need that one.
That's the new stuff. Okay, this is the new fit that you will get if you subscribe. And there's a form here in the description of our show. You can find that, submit your receipt and the form, and you get a free T-shirt here from us at CLNS Media. Follow up on that, Sherrod. He knows he doesn't need to, so he's saving himself for what?
For when we get to the post
marriage.
And I think for him it's wow, Jimmy, you have to go to.
Oh no.
But I think he understands that for him to be most effective, he doesn't have to necessarily go 100% all out. I mean, if you can just be in the paint, for example.
But that's incorrect. Did somebody tell him that's wrong? I hate this. Sorry, I hate this.
I need to talk to Al. I'm gonna have to talk to Al if that's the advice.
Do you believe that, Sherrod? Do you believe that he doesn't need to?
I believe if he's in the paint and a guy is driving to the basket, he doesn't have to block his shot to impact that play.
What should he do? Roll out the red carpet?
He can literally just be there.
Don't people eventually get it? Like, oh wait, this guy can't jump.
But see, that's the thing about it. That's I think his point is he's figuring out when he can and get away with that and when he can't. Players do that all the time in this league.
He's guessing
Sure,
wrong.
I understand where you're coming from.
John, the point that John just made, he's guessing wrong. Yes, I will agree with that. But the thought process that he's using makes a lot of sense.
It does, but it looks lazy. He's not closing out. He's not contesting a lot of shots weak side. It is easier to score on him than it was before, and I think the word is out. I think everybody knows, that he could toss one every once in a while into the fifth row, and sometimes you can see he's like, nah, I'm going to get this one, and he kind of does. So you can tell there's some choices being made. But I don't know if it's based on pain, if he feels he's only got 5-6 good jumps in him, and that's all he's got in a game. If he's just tired still and just still not in shape and knows I can't go 30 if I'm friggin' jumping out of the building, 100 times a game trying to block everything, and it's just conserving himself because he's out of shape? Or does he think that the wear and tear is hurting him and it's unnecessary and he's really just trying to stretch it out so he can be better later? I don't know. Like, is he going to be smart Rob in the playoffs, or is he going to be full tilt Rob?
I think he's got to be a little bit of both depending on what they need. He has to figure out what he has to be in the moment, and he's got to figure that out when it matters most, which is the playoffs. I think right now, if we're being honest and real, the regular season is kind of like feeling out Rob. Figure out what the hell can you actually do to help this team win.
Yeah, he's feeling the bench.
Well, that's the thing. I think his attitude from the beginning is just, I'm just going to go all out, all out, all out. And what does that do? He gets, 8, 9, 10 games under him, then he gets hurt, and then he's on the bench. He has to figure out how to do this job differently than he's been doing up to this point. And I think that's one of the reasons he's leaning on the experience of Al, who's been in the game forever today. It makes a lot of sense for him to try to pick Al's brain to figure out what can he do when he's on the floor to be a better player and be able to be on the floor. But again, to John's point, is he figuring this out as quickly as he should? No. Is he making a lot of the right decisions? No. But at least he's thinking about that process and is not just kind of going out there and just saying, I'm just going to do what I've done in the past and hope that it works out this time. That's
Jimmy.
Yeah, I know. I'm almost at a loss for words. I just feel like that's the wrong mentality. I know what you're saying, Sherrod. You want to play smart. Obviously,
what's the right mentality?
The right mentality is to.
You're 25 years old. Just go be a friggin' go be 25 years old.
Go be the athletic. Go be the athletic freak of nature.
So that's the thing. So then the story is, I actually know I'm basically playing. That's the thing. Then the story is, I actually know I'm essentially a 35-year-old man who's only got a little bit left in his knees, so I have to conserve, versus this is a smart way to play basketball. It's only smart because he knows
it's smart because you know your body is not going to be.
He knows he's on the downwards, on the back nine already, which sucks. That's the case.
Al Horford is 35 years old. It's different for Al. Al should be playing smart.
Jimmy, Al's been playing smart for like the last 8 years. That's why he's able to play.
Right, but he's also evolved his game to the 3-point line. Rob has devolved his game to the cylinder, and that's only like once in a blue moon. So it's one thing to be smart, but I wouldn't even say he's playing smart. I think he's playing scared. There's a difference.
Al didn't evolve his game because Al said one day, I'm just going to be a badass long-range shooter. Al evolved his game because he had a coach that said, Al, get your ass behind the 3-point line and start shooting.
Oh, that's the best thing you could have done.
Yes, but Rob hasn't had that type of coach. No one has said, Rob, you need to extend your range so that you can have a longer career. Which to me, if you look at him shoot at mid-range, it's not like he's got crappy form or anything.
He doesn't. I'm not asking him to be a 3-point shooter. I'm asking him to just think about shooting. Maybe it crosses your mind in the game.
I don't think he's going to think about anything anymore.
But putting all that aside, the mentality that he should have is to block shots, is to scare defenders into driving to the paint, to make them think twice about taking a 3-point shot when he's like in the vicinity of the area. This guy was jumping out of the gym not too long ago. I understand if he's coming back from an injury. But
and how's that working out for him?
But how's what working out for him?
Jumping out the gym every single night. He gets hurt, Jimmy.
Yeah, I know. I know. So what I'm saying, I understand if he's not going to do that every single game to the same rate. But if it's the opposite, where it's like he's not really going to do it really much at all, then we're talking about a completely different player.
Yes. Now, Jimmy, that's a problem. If he's not going to do it much at all, that is a problem because that's literally taking away your greatest strength and minimizing it to just.
I mean, who is at this point? His value drops significantly if he can't be close to that guy.
He has to figure out that balance between playing smarter so that he doesn't get hurt, but still being impactful. And I don't think he's figured out the best way to do that yet. But at least he understands that has to be the path that he has to take going forward. He's not going to be a guy that's going to play 10, 8, or 10, 11, 12 straight games where he's blocking 3, 4, 5 shots, or he's just
But
playing the way he did.
But he can't
He's got the
even.
ability.
I
just
know.
don't.
But you're saying
I
it. I agree with you, Sherrod. We kind of see that it's heading that way. What I'm saying is, you're basically telling everybody at home right now that there's no Santa Claus, like
You're
because
putting
everybody.
spins. Yeah, you're putting spins on. You're making this
You're
into
not
like a
even
good
spin.
thing.
Everybody at home is like Rob's saving himself, and he'll be full Rob again in the playoffs, and he's just being smart. And you're telling us that Rob is dead and gone, and he knows it, so he has to conserve himself, conserve what he's got, because he really just knows he can't do it. And knowing he can't do it is like the worst nightmare for fans with Rob, which is crap. Is he going to be that guy again? And it's just a
It's just
sad
always
reality.
something.
It's a sad reality if we're there already.
Like, I wouldn't say he was jumping out the gym tonight, Sherrod. He still left the game with hamstring tightness or soreness or whatever it was.
I'll believe that never, by the way.
Well,
it's
allegedly.
the same leg, and it's around the knee, and they're calling it the hamstring. Never, ever, ever will I believe that this is a hamstring, but that's fine.
Listen, when you have the kind of injuries he's had with the knee, hamstring, knee, the bottom line, something's not right on that part of the body, and it's impacting. And I don't think he runs hard enough, to be candid with you, to put like to have like a hamstring strain or anything like that.
No, he doesn't.
His position doesn't afford that, and the way he plays his position, I don't think that's happening. Rob's the bottom line is this: even with less than top shelf Rob, he's better than a lot of guys at his
I don't
position.
even know.
He can still impact the game at a high
He doesn't
level.
do enough. Doesn't do enough.
He can impact the game, Sherrod, but he doesn't really. He's not out there enough. Once in a blue moon, yes, he will have a positive. Like I said, last game, he had a positive effect in that game. I wouldn't say that he stood out above and beyond like he has in the past by any stretch.
I thought he got better as the game went on, to be honest with you.
He had a good game. He did.
Yeah.
And then he left the game tonight. Like that's it. That sums up Rob. That sums up his career right now to this point. He can't string performances together. He can't string seasons together. You don't know. Again, you don't know what you're going to get with him on any given night.
Yeah, I agree. You don't know what you're going to get, but that's kind of the thinking why he's trying to figure out how to play smarter, so he can figure out ways he can be impactful and stay on the floor and not get hurt. I don't think he still hasn't figured out how to do that. And to be honest, I don't think any of us know if he will ever be able to do that. But that's the challenge. And the bottom line, Jimmy, is he can't keep playing the way he does and expect the end result to be different. He has to figure out some different kind of way to be a significant impactor than what he's done now. And I think he's trying to figure that out.
Joe Missoula on blown lead. I think it's a one-off. That's the quote that I read on Twitter.
Okay.
I hope we have some video of this.
I have something. I don't know if it's that one. I'm just going to put up what I have. Hold on one second. This is what I have on Joe talking about the game.
They went to their switching defense.
Yep.
We got a little stagnant on the offensive end, turned the ball over. And then, we talk a lot about end games, ending quarters, ending halves. And, in the beginning of the year, we watched a lot of film on when we give teams light of day at the end of a quarter or end of a half. In the NBA, it's going to be a close game. And so we got off to a really good start playing the right way. And we just let the foot off the gas, and, it cost us.
Off the gas?
You did admit it.
Oh, hell no. Y'all did more than let the foot off the gas. Y'all ran out of gas. Y'all pulled the car over and got out and started walking. You let your foot off the gas.
Yeah.
This is a bad one. This is a bad. No matter. I respect Joe Missoula for just really trying to kind of craft it in a narrative that won't seem as tough to swallow as it is. But the bottom line, they just didn't. They did not give enough effort, long enough, sustained enough to compete. I mean, this is a 15-point win. If you play with halfway decent effort for 4 quarters, you win this game by 15.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't. They didn't.
This is letting him off the hook because it was closing quarters. Like I said, I read the stats. They They got blown out to close the second half. They still had a 9-point
Dude, they
lead.
were getting
15-6,
out-muscled on the
15-6,
boards.
17-6 to start each quarter. They came out with their best unit and got dogged.
They got blasted.
It was really just had nothing going. It's strange, you know. Like, give me a break with switching defenses. Like, and look, they got a couple athletes there, and they did acquire, you know, obviously Smith is a good athletic 3-and-D sort of wing. I mean, they've got some bodies they can throw at you defensively since the trade. I mean, but come on, guys. You just took it to the Cavs, with the exception of kind of fading in the last 4 minutes there, which is a team that's a superior defensive team there that has rim protection and can do a lot. I mean, don't tell me that you got thrown off by switching defenses. It's a sad cop-out excuse. It's the NBA. It's like they tried, and that kind of threw us. You know, like, come on.
You know what?
You know?
I think it goes back to that point that Jimmy made earlier about how, you know, they took it for granted. They took it for granted. They came out. They had Brooklyn exactly where they went, down 28 points in the first half, and they said, "We're done. It's a wrap." And Brooklyn's like, "What? Nah, we got like another half and some change to play." And so I don't believe that.
I
they
hope
took
that
their foot off the gas. I just think they got out the damn car when they got pretty close to the destination and said, "We can walk the rest of the way. We don't really need to drive there." And Brooklyn's like, "Oh hell no, we're gonna drive your ass into the ground and get this W. Go back to the BKN."
I hope that the reporters asked the players if they felt that they brought enough effort tonight, and really, brought enough intensity and effort that they thought they needed, because I certainly didn't see it. Sherrod, do you remember like 10 years ago, or I don't even know when it was, I asked KG, like, I questioned his effort.
What the hell were you thinking on that day, Jimmy? Obviously, you did not have your athletic greens when you asked that question.
So this is actually funny, because I think the Celtics, I'm pretty sure they blew a big lead to the Nets. Again, a bad Nets team. And it was like a second half lead, and it was like back when Pierce and KG would sit at the podium, and we'd all sit in their meeting room, and he said something about like intensity or effort, and then I said, do you guys feel like you showed effort tonight? And he looked at me, and he just stared at me, and he goes, yes. And then he just stared at me for the rest of the press conference, like never took his eyes off me. And I had to sit there and like pretend to take notes, knowing that he was staring at me the whole time. And then like when the press conference finally ended,
scared shitless.
When it finally ended, like he got up and he just stared at me as he walked out. And then like that was a scary moment in my career. And I don't think I ever questioned his effort
And Jimmy
again.
was done. Jimmy was done.
I retired the next day.
Exactly.
Bill Belichick did that very famously with the reporter, the he who must not be named, Spygate reporter in Foxborough, was standing up against the wall, tried to get a question or two in. Bill like kind of stonewalled him, sat there, stared at him, walked off right by him, looking at him the whole time, then just walked out the door. It was really uncomfortable. Speaking of earlier, we were talking about Tatum and how would he respond to this. Here is Jason Tatum responding to this loss.
I mean, like Joe said, he came in, we lost. It was tough. But, you know, disbelief. We didn't play well. You know, they played better than we did. And, you know, usually you lose. So it's not disbelief, you know. I don't even know if it's anger. Play too many games to be angry. You know, move on, get ready for the next one. It is what it is, essentially.
I would run through a freaking wall for that guy.
Yeah, right.
I am
he really
fired
knows how
up.
to get you going.
I cannot wait for that next game.
I can tell you what, after hearing that, we'll never see a loss like this again. Not after what I just heard.
Oh my God, I am friggin' pumped.
Man. So to recap, not a big deal, not angry.
It was whatever.
Not surprised. Just not anything. Just here. We're just all here,
you know,
living.
There is a performative aspect to this thing. I don't believe what Jason Tatum says matters, but there is a performance aspect where Sherrod kind of hit the nail on the head earlier. You are communicating to your fans, and they're mad, so you have to act
Read
mad.
the room.
Just
read the damn room, man. fake it for 5 minutes, okay? It's like what I say.
Just be like, it's so easy. I wish these guys, I could just slip them a note card. Our jobs would be boring because then we couldn't talk about that stuff. And note card reads as follows. Well, it's unacceptable and it starts with me. We can't let leads like that slip away. We took our foot off the gas and we didn't get serious. And then I didn't do my part, and I've got to do better, and I've got to lead this team. We've got to be better. I promise we will be next time. I expect better from myself. I'm disgusted by this loss. It's going to haunt me for the rest of the night, but you got to get past it. Hopefully we're going to come out, and I guarantee we come out on Sunday with a better effort. That's it. And then walk off and do whatever the F you want.
John's had a few of these performances apparently in his life. He's got it all down.
It's much easier when you just say, sorry, I screwed up. Totally. Then defend yourself.
Yeah. Hand up. That's on me. I've said that
You know what it is, though? As
Hand
players,
up.
I also think players don't like admitting it to us, to media, because they're like, I don't owe you guys anything. You know who had the biggest beef with that is Kyrie throughout his life. Like, I'm better, smarter. You guys are hacks, and I know you want me to do the dog and pony show and say the thing you want me to say, but I'm not giving you that satisfaction. I'm sure there's an element of that too, which is like, what do you guys want me to do? Fall on the floor here and be like, I'm so sorry, I didn't play well. Right. There's some theater there, and I'm sure some of those guys just don't want to give it up. But I don't know. This is who he is. Sherrod, you haven't spoken yet, so I'd like to hear your reaction.
He's at a loss.
How can I put this? And I'm going to just say it one more time. I totally get that he's not Mr. Rah-Rah. But I'm sorry, but how can you not feel something after being up by 28 at home against a team that has gotten rid of their best player, their second best player, and their third best player, and the one guy that was supposed to be like the next one is not in the building, and we're talking about Ben Simmons, and they beat you by double digits after you are up by 28 at home, and you don't fit. This is just another game?
Right.
Just another game? Are you?
Just another game. You got booed. They got booed off the court tonight, didn't they, Bobby?
I love Jason Tatum, but I don't like what Jason Tatum said tonight at all. At all.
You never hear that from KG.
I don't even care about KG. I just care about the fact that your best player has no kind of emotional engagement after spotting a team 28 after taking a 28-point lead in the first half against a team that has lost 8 of their previous 10 games, is damn near 4 games out of being out of the damn, not even in the play-in picture, and they just beat you by double digits after being down by 28 in your building. But you don't have any type of...
Yeah. Bobby, you were in there. Read the room for us. I know you were in there on Tatum, I assume.
Paint us
a picture. Paint us a picture of the general vibe of this team feeling, what after this loss?
Well, Luke Cornett cooked some lemon desserts.
No. I can't do it. I can't.
Stop.
I can't.
Are you kidding me?
I can't do it. I'm going to give you 2 minutes.
Is it over? Is it over?
Get a 20-second timeout. Give me one of Joe Missoula's timeouts and use that thing right now. Timeout. Bobby, get back here.
How did that happen? How did
the team feel? Well, the guy who played 2 minutes didn't like it.
Well,
Bobby, get back here.
Luke Cornett, who was
watching.
I was trying to paint a picture of the locker room.
Okay, but it has to be a guy. I need to know how a guy who played more than 4 minutes.
Here's where I'm going.
So how does it start?
Here's where I'm going.
Luke Cornett
I'm sorry. It was unfair. Go ahead.
Here's where I'm going with it. Made a bunch of desserts, lemon, some sort of lemon pastry, untouched in the locker room. Only Mike Muscala tried one after the game.
Did you make the
kind of
desserts?
locker room it was. No, Luke made them. Put them on the table, untouched.
Did that bother you?
That's some mood in the locker room.
That is a mood, all right.
Think of
That's
that.
the best story ever.
That's John.
That's
why
phenomenal.
we send him. That's why we send him to get this.
That's
type of
legit the
information.
best. scoop I've ever gotten. So the mood of the locker room was,
They didn't want
I'm
pastries.
so upset I don't want dessert.
Breaking: Cornette's scones aren't touched by the team after the game. What were they? Lemon meringue? What are we talking about here?
Lemon meringue. Yeah, you got it.
Cornette's crullers. Yeah.
Of course they are. Oh my god! All right, we should have been more specific. That's our fault. All right,
That's phenomenal. That's
actually our fault. We should have been way more.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
All right, give us an idea of the attitude, the general vibe of the players. Like, what was their?
He just told you they didn't want any crullers, man.
Right. It wasn't a cruller. It wasn't a cruller Friday night for sure.
No, but I mean, Tatum downplays it some. The guys who talked and this and that, like, I mean, was this a should happen sort of thing?
Here's what I got my eye on, John, because we got Joe really drilling that 3-point rate, which you understand. There was a gap. The Nets actually said that they were trying to create that gap, and they did so with the defense that they played, really playing tight to the 3-point line, limiting those driving kicks. So, of course, Joe, I'm sure you guys mentioned, put this one on the 3-point rate. We only shot 33s. There was just too big of a gap there, and you can't overcome that. So, obviously you have Jalen saying after the Knicks game that we probably shot too many threes. So are guys buying into that 3-point volume, the math game that Joe is trying to emphasize here, really trying to get those up in good quality? Yet Tatum shooting 0 for 8 in this one. So he was trying to get them up there for sure.
They still only shot 30 after 32 last game. So it's like, again, it is below.
So that's what I'm saying,
average.
John. They're low on it right now. So did they look at that? Did they look at that Knicks game and say, "Man, we launched too many of these. We got to get back into the paint"? I thought that's how Jalen played in this one. He said it's a balance. After I asked him, of course, he's the guy who said we shot too many threes there. Joe's now saying shoot more threes. He said it's a balance. So are they all in on this 3-point volume offense? It's a question I have going forward. We'll see if they're able to stick to it. And they've done that for most of the season.
I guess I'll ask this. Jalen's saying too many. Tatum joked when he didn't play, like, whoa, that was a lot of threes. So you have those guys, the players acknowledging it, but you have Joe saying take more. You think they're freestyling and going away from the type of stuff that he wants them to do? Like,
I don't know. I don't think that's what they're doing here, but are they locked in on that game plan? Because Joe keeps saying more and more and more. Yeah. You want guys being aggressive. You want guys going to the rim. You want Jalen taking those mid-rangers. Are they on the same page about the offense? I asked Joe what he could have done to control the game in the direction he wanted, and he said he would have gone back to that second quarter and called a few more plays. Obviously, he's not a guy who calls a ton of plays, but that might be something he has to do going forward if he really wants this to become high-volume threes every night. It worries me, John. We keep talking about this. If you're going to put them up every night in massive, massive volumes, you're kind of living and dying by it to some degree. But in a game like this, the game called for more of them, and they weren't able to generate them. So does someone have their hands on the wheel of this offense and steering it where it needs to go? I don't know. I actually thought in the second half they put up too many ill-advised threes. So it's all about – I don't think it's about a number. Like, I think Joe has a number he's trying to target, and if they don't get there – he thinks that's the reason they lost tonight, but it's about the quality of them. And I don't think they were generating good quality ones. If they had 33s, great quality, and they hit, let's see, would they come out of this one? 30%.
They hit 9.
If you hit like 14, 15 of them, it's a different game. So it's about the quality. They settled too much once they got the lead. And that brought the Nets right back into this game. They didn't put pressure on them to defend. How bad was that defense early from Brooklyn? And then they looked like a lockdown team once the Celtics started settling.
Well, the Celtics were starting to see a more settled defense because Brooklyn started making shots. And Brooklyn started making shots because the Celtics defense was just breaking down at every spot. They got to find a way to cook up better play than what we saw tonight.
That's a huge concern, too. Not much talk of that after the game. How easily was Mikal Bridges able to score in this one? They got lit up.
Well, it's because Rob was apparently timing his points in the game where he wanted to try, according to Sherrod.
But Bobby, yeah, and I want to make like you privy to that. Sherrod had done an interview with Rob beforehand, talking about him conserving himself a little bit because there is some understanding on his part that physically he can't necessarily go all out. Whether he ever will be, who knows? But
Wow.
I mean, I'm paraphrasing. Sherrod can obviously,
It's I
yeah,
yeah.
tell
Well,
it better. But
Rob is trying to just be a smarter player. It's that simple. He's trying to utilize his body in a smarter way so that he's not exerting all he has and putting himself in potentially risking getting hurt. He's just trying to be a smarter player. That's literally what he's trying to do. Is he doing? And again, this is where I think we're all in agreement. He's not doing it as well as he should.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's
I mean,
like
if he's
he's
gonna
got
get
the
hurt
right.
anyways, you might as well go 100%.
Well, see, but that's just the point. He doesn't. He's trying to figure out how to
I
not
know.
do that.
I'm being
That's what. So
facetious.
that's where we're at.
So Bobby, but what I wanted to ask is any intel on the injury, which I don't believe is actually a hamstring.
No, I didn't get in for the beginning of Joe. He probably got asked during that stretch, but he probably didn't give any answer there on that. We'll see what happens tomorrow into Sunday, what his injury designation is, and if that's the case, Sherrod, you hope that he just felt something and wanted to reel it back in, and
Well, the
it's
weird thing,
cautious there.
right? The weird thing about it though was you could see after that last play, he just walked off the
He
court.
deteriorated, yep, over
No,
those
I'm saying
couple plays.
yeah, but I'm like he didn't even. There wasn't like a limp. There wasn't. He just walked off the court, and it was weird. Because I just assumed that when he went to the back that he was just getting something to retaped or something. But when he didn't come back, I thought it was a little bit strange, which at least makes me think that it's maybe not quite as serious as we might think. But again, and we've seen this all season long. They're going to be super duper overly cautious with Rob anytime he has anything that is even remotely
Right.
puts him in
And
the
they should.
crosshairs of being hurt. Right.
Yeah.
That's a smart thing to do.
It's
I
I
would
mean,
say.
I have no issue with that being the decision. I mean, it's just a bummer that there's always something. There's always something.
You're always
That's
waiting.
that's the bummer. Yeah, right. So I at this point, and I just don't know how you can count on him. I don't know how you could, because you just don't know if he's gonna be there to give you smart
Right.
play even.
Yeah.
And not only
just a-
that, Jimmy, but to Sherrod's point in his interview, if he has to manage himself, he's not Rob. So even when he is available,
we
you get a
said.
percentage.
That's the
of
point.
him.
That's
Right.
the point. Is Sherrod argues, makes a point. It's better than the alternative on the team, no question about it. It's better than a lot of people who are playing the position throughout the NBA. But the problem is, it's not that guy that was the ceiling raiser we saw last year, and that's what everybody was waiting for this year. Is wait till Rob comes back and see what happens. If they're this good now, I don't even want to imagine how good they'll be. And it's not, and it messes up with a lot of things, and it messes up your idea of double big and whether or not it's something that works or should continue to be something that Joe goes to. Whether he should be playing smaller lineups, and if Rob's not Rob, I think you have to rethink a lot of the things that you thought were kind of like iron this team.
Yeah, especially since even in the finals, I felt like his defensive impact reached a level where you knew he was a percentage of himself, but he still made a massive, massive impact.
And he's lower than that.
Now
He's less than that.
Yeah.
now.
Well, yeah, there's a case for that for sure. And the double big lineup became a detriment again tonight. Recent games.
Yes, again tonight.
So if he misses some time here, I guess if there is any silver lining to it, you're going to be able to transition back into that white lineup. And then I think you put him on the bench when he comes back.
And the reason I don't, again, I hate being that conspiracy theory guy. The reason I don't buy hamstring, I mean, I hate just throwing out baseless stuff.
No,
but don't you, when you see hamstring, usually you see a guy feel it, pull up, walk around,
grab
and
it,
be like, I gotta go. Like, it's pretty sudden usually, and like, yeah, sometimes I guess if you call it tightness, some people have left with that, but he was limping 3, 4, 5 trips down after, and you could see it after the play where he got fouled. He came down and he kind of hopped, so maybe it was tightness and maybe he was trying to loosen it up, but it just felt like a tweak of something more than anything else. But again, I hope it's only that. I hope it's not associated with the knee. Obviously everybody does, but it's still, we've talked a bit about it. I was just curious whether you had some intel. other things on the night here, anything you guys wanted to pick up or scrutinize as far as team play went? It was such a global collapse, and Bobby, we already kind of, took a couple shots at Tatum for kind of being the poster child of kind of relaxing. But other observations from tonight?
Yeah, you go down the line. Brown got a little too aggressive in the second half. I thought you liked the assertiveness to go into the paint area, but he got swallowed up time and time again. And I thought that led to some of the erratic stretches during that second half where the Nets are running out the other way. Obviously, somewhere on the line, the defense broke down too, as Sherrod mentioned in this one. And I thought Smart, again, when it stems from Tatum, when they get a little launch happy, I think guys down the line start firing them off too, and that happened for Smart in this one. But you look at the minutes here tonight, they missed Brogdon. Absolutely. I don't think you lose this game with Brogdon in there to spell some of those offensive drought stretches. And then you look at the back end of the big rotation now, especially with Rob possibly missing some time here. Where are you going? They try Luke in the first half tonight. Grant returns, doesn't play great offensively, but ends up a plus off the bench. And Muscala, this is a guy you brought in as Rob insurance to some degree, right? In 3 minutes in a game where Rob goes down, it's tough.
I can't figure it out.
They're big, right? They want to play big. They want to put two bigs on the floor at all time. That guided their deadline approach. But now you play in Indiana, you play a Knicks team, you play a Nets team, and 3 of those games you can't match up with your rotations. You got to sit all these big men. It's concerning because you're going to see these teams. The Nets maybe round 1, the Knicks round 2, Raptors. I've sounded the alarm on the Raptors again and again. The Raptors can do to you what the Nets did tonight. Not to mention the Bucks.
The Nets did it. Anyone can do it.
And the Nets are
They came into tonight 28th in net rating since the Kyrie trade.
They're a bit of a pushover right now. So this was just an unacceptable loss.
And hopefully it's a wake up call. Again, John, we've been saying months now, the offense just isn't right. Something's off there, and they got to start addressing it. Practices. Today they had an optional shoot around, John.
Anybody go?
Cornette. Or he was baking,
Cornette.
So he
Cornette
probably couldn't
make
go.
it. Yeah, Cornette.
I didn't see Brown, Tatum, or Smart.
I got no problem with that. Again, when it comes to practice, one of my favorite stories, like I remember, everyone made such a huge deal about the Allen Iverson practice. We're talking about practicing, and like you talked to I remember Bill Russell did an interview, and he was like talking about that. He's like, I never practiced. He's like, I'd go to Red and be like, I'm not practicing. He's like, because I put it all in the game. He's like, I'd go to Red. Be like, I'm not practicing, like today. It was the total opposite of what you thought. Yeah. Oh my God, practice is where we put it. He's like, I'd show up and be like, I'm saving it for the game. Be like, all right, cool. It was fine. So I don't, you're not working it out in shoot around sort of stuff. It's just, it's an identity thing. It's difficult. Joe's in jail right now a little bit with his rotations. This is another confusing one. He plays Grant for 10 minutes in the first half, then doesn't really play him at all, leaks out a little bit Cornette, and then pulls it back, puts Muscala in for a sniff, and then not, and then he's like, crap, let's try Pritchard too. There was a little bit of experimenting there because some stuff wasn't working.
Panic mode at that point.
But I don't think he knows what he's doing, not in a bad way. I think it's evident that he actually doesn't really have a plan yet. No, meaning it's not the worst thing in the world. I actually do think experimenting is essential at this point because you've added enough pieces and you've gotten healthy too. So you really haven't had the opportunity to play with the combinations that you have now at your disposal. And I don't really think he's got it figured out yet. We were wondering if it was matchup specific. I'm not sure anymore.
No, I'm just glad he's doing it now. As opposed
Which he should.
to in April. Yeah, this is the absolute perfect time to do it. You've got all your pieces together as far as guys being healthy for the most part. And this is when you start figuring out which combinations that maybe you haven't tried before that Now you can try them and see if they can give you something. You never know if one of these wacky ass lineups is just going to be that lineup that gets you over the hump in that 3-4 minute stretch in game 2 or 3 of a playoff series that you absolutely need to get that victory. So I give him credit for doing that. But as a fan, you're watching this, you're thinking, what the hell is going on? Why is Mike Muscala playing like 3 minutes? And why?
I think they're messing with something that worked with Grant Sherrod. Did he struggle? Yes. But you go to these extremes in favor of Muscala, who just got here, and Hauser, who had like the biggest 2-month slump ever. It just seemed drastic to me. And even tonight, the 16 minutes, like, this guy's one of your rocks. He roll with him. Like, they're not going to bench Smart at night or a slump. And not to say Grant's on the standing in the organization, Smart is, but he's part of your rotation at its core, I think. And you don't have great enough options alongside him to be benching him. And that had to impact his play tonight. Like, I think there's probably some second guessing or pressing going on with a guy like that. And he's still shooting 40% for the season, Sherrod, from 3. I know he's below 36%, but it's not like his percentage is plummeting for the season during this slump. And he's going to come out of it. He's going to defend. He's going to do things that you need to do on a game-in and game-out basis. I think you got to stop fooling around there. And there's a good opportunity to get him back involved if Rob is out for an extended stretch here. Even play him at some 5. Why doesn't he play the 5 anymore? Go small with him at the 5 against certain teams. You could have done that tonight.
You could have done anything tonight. It's actually perplexing that the Nets team, this Nets team with the lineups that they're throwing out there, that you weren't finding minutes. I thought he was gone. He didn't play the entire third quarter and most of the fourth, and then he actually ended up closing the game out there when Rob went down. But it looked like he got yanked from the rotation after one quarter, after half rather. It looked like he was not in their second half plans, and I don't know that he would have played as much as he played if Rob didn't go out.
Yeah, and it's perplexing, and you can't get an answer on it. I don't know what he's trying to do, whether it's an experimentation thing. He keeps saying matchups. Doesn't seem like there's any guiding principle in the matchups here. Like, was this a Cornet game with all that shooting and wing play?
Well, here's what Bobby caught up with Grant the other day at an event. Here's what Grant had to say when Bobby asked him about kind of what's going on with him getting. This is, again, coming off his first DNP CD since I think 2021. Here's the clip.
Pretty well. For me, it's always just been about doing whatever the team needs. So whether that's playing or not playing, try my best to be the person that I am. Try my best to be a team player, as I've always been, and understand that who knows what the future looks like. You can only focus on today, and you try your best just to approach every day with the right mentality. Give back to those that you need to, and also give to those who deserve. And that's always something that I've been very vocal about, and something that I'll try to continue to do. Is that just as hard as I am with myself, you gotta give yourself some light sometimes. So for me, it's just a matter of maintaining perspective and continuing to impact the team in a positive way, whether that's on the floor or off, or whatever happens later on.
What was that? What was going on there?
It was a basketball camp of some sort going on.
Basketball or fireworks?
We were below the gym, which ended up being
that was explosive. Nice place. I love when these PR people hold an event and they just they're like, let's put them under the basketballs. All
right, guys, everybody start dribbling. All right, Grant, you guys have 1 minute.
Okay, Grant. Go ahead. Now talk about the charity. I finally lured you all here to talk about the charity. Go. Boop, 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 boop. Come on, guys.
Grant said all the right things there. I mean, he's good.
Of course he did.
He
didn't seem angry at all.
No, he's a smart player. He's a smart guy, obviously. Part of the player, vice president of the Players Association now. So
first 5 feet. Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna have the right attitude about this, but it's definitely got to be something that's bothering him for sure, because this is somebody who was a huge part of the rotation last year and a huge part of this team. He's in a contract year. He has every reason in the world to want to play, right? And number one being that he does want to help the team win games. So I agree with Bobby to a point where I do think you have to acknowledge the fact that he has struggled this year, certainly. But he's still better than somebody who can't find the court, You know what I mean? So I feel like they've got to get him going. And I mean, he's going to be vital to this team. You know, for better or for worse, down the stretch and in the playoffs, they need him. He's a depth guy. He's not a starter, but he's a depth guy. He's an important depth guy. So they got to get him going some way. And he's not going to get going by playing, 10 minutes a game and, putting him in some garbage time. So I don't know what they have to do, but they have to do something.
Well, you could play deeper if you want to get all these guys minutes. You don't have to go 7 deep. I know that's probably part of the playoff ramp-up process here, but you could do a Grant, Muscala, Hauser lineup.
What do we need him for real, though? Like, I understand there's versatility, but, like...
He's one of your better players, John.
He plays a number of positions.
What are you basing it off of, though? That's the thing.
Last year and the early portion of this year.
You're looking at a run now of 2.5, 3 months. He's been a very ineffective player, and his minutes have deservedly gone down. It's not like all of a sudden Joe was like, "I got all these." I've got all these new toys. He's playing worse. He's playing considerably worse. And that's not because he was getting jerked around minutes-wise. He was playing worse at mid-20 minutes per game, and it had been trending in this direction for a while. He lost the minutes. Joe didn't take them away. He lost them by not playing well, not playing well enough. So this idea of Grant Williams being one of their better players, or the best version of Grant Williams, yes, maybe. The best version of every player is really good. The Grant Williams we've been seeing lately doesn't deserve a lot of minutes.
But John,
is that how they treat every player?
I think he's kind of net neutral, honestly. I don't.
Okay, then who gets the minutes?
I don't know that you need them as much as you do when you have a healthy Rob, a healthy Al.
But you don't have a healthy Rob.
Right at this moment, you don't. But when you did, when you have those guys.
And he's got to be ready for when Rob isn't healthy.
That's fine. But so does anybody have to be ready for anybody not being healthy. I'm saying currently, there's actually not. It's not like criminally negligent of Joe not to be playing.
I'm not saying it's criminally negligent, but it is a bit surprising how drastically I think his role has diminished as of late. Now, that being said, it's only been a couple of games. It's not like he hasn't played for the last 2 months. He has, and maybe there is something to be said about his performance that does have to do with the decrease in minutes. Maybe Joe is trying things by playing him less minutes. But it's not like he's playing Missoula more. It's not like he's playing Blake Griffin more.
Let's think of Missoula's coaching philosophy too, and we've talked about this in comparing him to Ime Udoka. He's looking for offense. He's looking for shooters. He's looking for spacing. And biggest factor, as much as anything else tonight, was their defensive collapse.
I understand that, but again, he shot 30% or whatever from 3 last month. So obviously it wasn't great. You saw a couple of times where his minutes did go down, but I mean, you have a lot of 1, 2, 4, 2, 9, 5, 2, 0, 6 games. It's just very meager contributions. But there's certain games he's not even able to get a shot off. He's not able to do anything. He can't catch and shoot quick enough in the corner. And down low, he can't get it up over people because he lacks length. He's just not able to game offensively.
Again, like Jimmy said,
at all, unless you swing it to him for an open three. Really,
like Jimmy said, though. What are we comparing him to? Because let's say Hauser gets one more 3 per game than him at his best. What's he giving up defensively that Grant probably wouldn't? And you can say the same about Muscala right now.
But it's a coin flip. The problem is, Bobby, it's not obvious it should be Grant over those guys. I think
defensively,
you can look at it is. I think you can look at it and say, I could play Muscala and be fine. I could play Hauser in this situation and be fine. It's not like they're like, oh man, they really needed Grant here. Like, I don't think you're saying that very often. He's losing it, but the people he's losing it to, I don't know that they're going out there and playing at a much worse level where it's obvious it should be Grant instead of them. That's all I'm saying.
No, but I think what you're hoping for is that you can get a better Grant again, because Bobby said you saw a better Grant last year. So I think you're hoping that that's still in there somewhere.
Even early this year, he was great to start the year. And defensively, I think he's always solid. And to go back to the point, it's only been recently the minutes have really dropped off. I'd be interested to see what their defense has played like over that stretch. They gave up 130 plus to Indiana in that game where he played 6 minutes, and tonight they stunk defensively. That New York game, I thought they were lousy on that end. for how much they've slid offensively, during a stretch where Grant was playing more consistently, it's not just because of him. Rob was out there, you're playing double big. They were top 3 defense. So you're balancing those two. And I think a lot of times Joe's really focused on this offense, and rightfully so, because I think you really have to manage this offense in a way you don't the defense. But you can't forget about what this team's groundwork is. It's crucial that they defend, and they missed him tonight. I thought they did on that end. He's a guy who could guard a Bridges.
No, I mean he can,
Sorry, Bobby.
but
He can,
but it's not the good matchup. Like that's the thing is he can do fine in those situations, but he's not a game changer. So when you're looking at what's lacking, it's not more cowbell, it's not more Grant. It just is, like it just is. Like I don't think he's that good. He's good enough to make an.
So what do you do? What are you doing, John? If you're in Joe's shoes
I think
right now?
I'm saying you're not putting him in just because he's Grant. I think he's got to play better. But right now, and then a commenter put it out there, I think teams have taken away that corner 3. They're running him off the line there a little bit. Since that started really happening this year, he's struggled to figure out what he's supposed to be doing here, because he can't really make a difference offensively lots of places, which is why you see so many of these 2 and 1 field goal attempt games. So then what do you have? Some position versatility, being able to defense and switch. But again, when you have more bodies out there, that versatility doesn't matter as much, because you have so many guys who impact the game in so many other ways who are going to be playing minutes when you've got, Brogdon and White and Rob and Al in there. It's just he's not doing enough to absolutely demand the minutes. So I don't know. I think this might be the roller coaster with him the rest of the way, unless there's an injury.
And it's going to be a roller coaster for this team as long as they continue to rely on threes. And I worry about it.
Will.
I have all year. Like, you can just see one bad shooting night in a really key spot costing them. And they're adamant about it at the top. Missoula. Tonight, he used it as an example that they need to shoot more. They need to be in the 40s. They need to have that volume to succeed, or teams are going to make them pay. And the Nets certainly did tonight. But you look at that Knicks game and say, well, there may be a few too many here. And when you're looking at it from that statistical standpoint, how much you play into getting certain numbers rather than just feeling the game and getting to the spots where you're going to succeed from as players there. I hope that this one doesn't get into their heads a little bit, not only for Grant with the minutes here, but the offense in terms of what they're doing on that end. It was a disaster tonight. Maybe it's a one-off. That was the sentiment, to go back to that. I think everybody in the locker room and Joe felt like this was just an aberration, but they certainly set themselves up for what happened here tonight. And it was shocking to see it go from, you're not shocked that a team blows a lead, but you're shocked that you go from up 28 to really trailing by double digits midway through the fourth and chasing there and looking like you're too far behind to catch up. They flipped this game on its head and just dominated Boston.
Bobby, you were sitting, it looked like, unless it was somebody else, were you sitting in the media section?
Yeah, I was in the loge.
Could you see any animation with the players? Was there any life as this lead was
few words from Jalen, few words from Al, but a lot of blank stares on the sideline, light claps. It was a pretty mellow bench through that stretch.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
It just feels like they just didn't have something. They were lacking something tonight.
Revenge game against the Knicks. I could see them bouncing back here. What I do want to say about the Knicks is that Jimmy Toscano will be making his TD Garden debut.
Let's go.
Heading down. Yep.
Yeah. I saw enough tonight. I need to go down to the Garden and sniff around. I'm being Dan Shaughnessy on Sunday.
He's got the tea.
I'm Shanks.
Here I go.
Whenever there's issue, whenever there's a problem going on within an organization, you see Dan Shaughnessy. You see the guys roll in. They just poke around. They ask questions. They want to know. They want to know what's going on. I want to see for myself what's going on. So I'm going to the Garden on Sunday. I think Josue is going to be there. I'm fired up. It's my return. It's not my debut, John. It's my return.
Season debut.
Dude, yeah. Well, actually, multiple seasons. I haven't been with the press pass since they shut the whole thing down pre-COVID. Yeah. So, Sherrod, you gonna be there? Nice. I'm gonna sit next to you at the media table, man.
Oh,
right next to you.
Great.
Me, you,
can't wait.
G-Dubs. I hope Gary's gonna be there Sunday. I know it's Sunday.
I'm kind of thinking.
Gary's always there, Jimmy.
I know he's the hardest working guy in the gym.
He hasn't missed a home game since Von Wafer was here.
I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna go. I might go.
Oh,
Hey,
John's yeah,
here we
John.
go.
John, let's go.
Oh, we'll
Let's
take
go.
the whole place by storm. But I'm coming.
go.
I told Josue.
They're gonna
I'm
see.
coming.
They're
I told him
gonna
to
see
come
John.
collect. I told
They're
him to
gonna
come
see
correct.
John coming in the interview room, and they're gonna be like, now we know
God,
we
yeah.
screwed up."
Yeah.
Last
Here
time
he is.
this.
John's like he's the with the hood. What do they call him? Just like the Grim Reaper. John's the Grim Reaper. Comes in with the
Last
sword
time-
to end your
time John-
season.
Last time John
knocking
was
on
there,
the
the coach was getting suspended.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. I'm
Yeah, I
coming
know.
suited and booted on Sunday. I told Josue you better come correct, or else he's gonna get blown out of the water on film. So we'll be ready.
I miss it. I liked going in, and being, getting in there sometimes, asking questions, being part of the mix.
Yeah,
It's,
I probably won't ask. I probably can't. Well, I can't even get in the locker room, I don't think. But
yeah.
if I was there, if I get it to a few games, I'll be able to ask some
Go
questions.
pregame, Jimmy. Ask Joe a question.
Oh, I'll be pregame. I'll be there pregame. I'll ask him a couple,
Anyway,
I'll ask him a couple questions.
We're done. We're gonna wrap it up. It's friggin'. We might have a new number 1 seed, and that's Luke's lemon scones for the Garden Report bracket.
So true.
It's a late entry, but we are
Very
going to do
late.
that bracket. We're going to do that bracket again. See if we come up with some ideas. If you have any suggestions for things that should make the Garden
We're
Report
clipping
bracket,
that. We're clipping that.
We're
That's gonna be in
solicit-
social tomorrow.
we're soliciting them now. So please send them to us, DM them to us. If you have any cool garden isms that you think would make, we did a field of 32 last year. Phenomenal one in a runaway. We will eliminate Phenomenal this year. The winner is out, but some of the other hits will remain. We're going to replace with some new ones. So send us any Garden Report isms if you guys can think of them, and we'll happily include them in the bracket. Look for Jimmy at the Garden on Sunday.
I'll be there.
Bobby
I'll be strutting around.
Yep. Josue Sherrod will be back with it. What time is that game? It's a night game, right? 7:30?
Yeah, it's a 7:30 game. Yeah, I'm gonna roll in around 4:00. Get a lay of the land. See who also is there early. Who's just strolling in late.
Bobby, do you think they would not have eaten my pies if they were on the table?
Which
John
pie?
comes
Your own
in.
wife wouldn't eat your pie, dude.
Bring it on Sunday. Be like, I know you guys are down bad.
I made the cherry pie with a lattice crust. Would you guys would you eat this if you lost?
Bring it Sunday if you come, John. Bring one. We'll have some immediate dining.
Yeah.
Would you eat it if you lost?
Yeah.
I mean, because I'll tell you, if
Mike
you're not
Muscala.
gonna eat it,
Tastes like
I'll tell
defeat.
you.
Tastes like
just to
losing.
get the record straight, Mike Muscala did have one.
Okay, that's team bonding right there. That's unity.
The new
Yeah.
guy. The new guy.
Yeah, the new
Yeah.
guy. He had to have one.
Exactly.
Yeah, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're out, guys. Thanks
Bobby,
again
did
for
you have
watching.
one? Be honest. Did you grab one on your way out?
I was tempted, but I did not.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't.
I feel like
They're
you
not
two
fair.
are close. I feel like you guys are close enough where you could probably do that.
Maybe one day in the future, but tonight wasn't the night.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right, we're out, guys. Thanks for hanging out.